Welcome back to Class Culture. If you're new here, subscribe. Thank you so much. Hearts of gold. Guess what? Shout out to my day ones. Shout out to the hearts of gold that have been here for a minute or two. I appreciate you. Shout out to the new subscribers. Shout out to the new members. Happy hauls. We are here in the holiday season 2021, and I have been enjoying oddities and curiosities. Nothing can hold me back. Thank you, Hearts of Gold. Thank you for keeping it 100 and keeping it real with Gigi Darling. Thank you. Hashtag 25 is still in effect. We're going to be changing that on the first day of the year, but isn't it amazing? Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it great? Because not only are we learning about things that happened in the past, talking about things that affect us today, but guess what? We're still that same human being from the past, because women give birth, time happens, death happens, and the process repeats itself. It's called growth, evolution. It's called remembering. It's called honoring. It's called festivals. It's called rituals and celebrations. We are in the midst of the season of the Halloween. And then what happens? Thanksgiving. And then what happens? Christmas. And then what happens? Epiphany. And then what happens? Easter. And we could go on and on and on. So I just woke up feeling yayness. I used to say it all the time. I still say it. It's ours. Yayness. Shout out to hashtag 3000. Thank you for being a part of that journey. We are here together celebrating Hearts of Gold, the golden in your heart, and Gigi Darling's goldens. The first 50 are for the next 50. And guess what? I'm feeling great. So welcome back to this episode.
Don't be scared of number 13. I really don't understand. I was going to do, I said, no, that's too obvious. About the number 13. I think I'm going to save that for next year. Okay. October 2022. Why not? You can say, Gigi Darling, I remember last year you said that. Because guess what, Hearts of Gold? I remember where I was last year, October 2020. Oh, I sure do. And I was thinking to myself, how am I going to build my channel? What do I want to talk about? Me. What tunes shall we sing together? And all of that. And here I am doing exactly what I wanted to at the PACE, my own pace. So I appreciate you, Hearts of Gold. Yeah, let's talk about, why not? Black beef sector, class culture, Queen Charming, Saga City Films, Helena Arts, DEIRDREHELENA Wells Jetkovic, DD Loop Loop, Gigi Darling Sector, Flawless, 3,000, 500,000. All of that was claimed December 19th, 2021. That was my half birthday. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Actually, it was close enough. No, yeah. April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Oh, September. Yeah. Half birthday. You know I hate math. Be careful. Okay, back to the show. A devil, bones, and costumes. We have made it. I mean, really, what have we talked about? I got papers. I got papers. Runes, numbers, letters, rituals, charms, lore, omens, dreams, god and goddesses, warlock, wizards, witch, divination, the tree of life. And here we are. Costumes, bones, and a devil. Now, I'm trying to catch up. I'm on a reward system. You have to do this to yourself in order to achieve real things in real life, not proving to anyone else. You got to do things in real life and earn the accolades, earn the degrees, earn the knowledge, earn the right to stand up to whatever. You even got to earn a high school degree to work at McDonald's. You have to earn things. And if that's the level you want to stop at, good for you. But guess what? I'm on an echelon. I added the T. Whereas I need to look around and see you next to me. I do not look down below. Now, I will bid you adieu. I will give you your honors. And this is sort of what this is about in the human experience. Why are we doing these things? Why do these rituals and topics matter? They should matter every day, but we bring them into the spotlight during the holiday. Do you know what holiday means? Dude, it's easy, ain't it? Come on. I'll give you a minute. Holy day. That's what holiday means. Right? It means something sacred to you. It means, sorry, somebody sending me emails, y'all. It means, let's just say, something special. It means, well, I'm going to set aside this thing to do whatever I want to do. Something that is significant to me. And what do? We mimic, we copy it over and over and over and over again. It makes a difference. It matters. People strive for it. This is a whole country that walked away from another country and kingdom and said, we want to do it our way. Guess what? That's the American spirit. Ooh, there's that word spirit. The inside, the soul, the energy that pumps this heart. That's where I dwell. A shout out to this old nasty infuser over there giving me a life. Thank you. Now, we got a lot to look up in this episode. It's a turning point, and I'm excited. So thank you for being here. You made it this far. We only got half a month to go. So what are we going to look at? Why we wear costumes, murmurs, mumming started in Africa, Devil's Night, bonfire. What is the tradition of fire of bones? Did Vikings burn their dead in the boats? Ancient burial or burial. I say burial as an A. I know it's a U. Ancient burial practices, burning the dead, pyres, pyre stone, and Valhalla. Okay, I like to say holla, Valhalla. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 webbies down below for you to come back over and over and over and over again and or share and or enjoy. I'm here to touch your brain, your soul. I'm here to grow you. I'm here to give you the knowledge to be the better you, the more informed you. This all was written before I hit planet Earth. So don't ask me no questions. Go ask them. Okay. Yeah, I love people that want to ask you questions. I'm like, well, how are you asking me a question about a book? Let's just say the Bible that was written 2,000 years ago. I think you're pressed. Let's get on with the show. Yeah. Don't answer no questions about something that was written 2,000 years ago. No, they're mad because you are good with what you're doing, meaning living on planet Earth, existing, having a wonderful human experience, and they're mad because they're not. Okay? Like devils. The tradition originated with the ancient Celtic or Celtic festival of what, right? Samhain, when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to what? Ward off ghosts, the devil, evil, they mama, they daddy, dummies on YouTube, whatever works and floats your boat. Woo, catch it. Even the Pope was in on it. He designated November 1st as a day to honor all saints. Uh-oh. So he got in on it. Okay, the night before y'all do the get rid of the ghosts and stuff, I'm good with that. But the day after, we're going to do saints. Wow. Right? You see how they come around to the way we think, the free thinkers, the nature lovers, the traditionalists. Isn't that something? That the religious people was paying attention to the natural folk. They always do. We dictate to them. They don't dictate to us. And that's how it always will be. Know your worth. Know your power. Know that if someone is watching you and wants to be live when you're live, they want that energy. They have to earn it. They have to learn it. They have to demonstrate it. And they could never. Because why? It's a devil. Fuck the demons. That's the devil be laughing. He'd be sitting back, oh, they blaming on the demons. It's like, no, Gigi Darling is not. Even the Pope said, let's get in on it. I'm like, come on, you can if you want to. A special, wearing a costume, a special or fancy dress. As for wear on the stage or at a masquerade or Halloween, style of clothing, ornaments, and hair. Shout out to my Bernices. And then it says a certain region or by a certain class or group, ancient Romans, or pick a culture. Costumed peasants having fun. Peasant just meant you were poor. Sorry, not sorry. And we're going to go on with the rest of this stuff. Okay, now here, I like this one. What is the definition between costume and a custom? Because I'm finding, HUGz, the devil is mad that I come on here with Bernices celebrating cosplay. I'm like, look at God. Is it a costume or is it a custom? I say both. Here it says, is that costume is to, the costume is to dress or adorn with the costume or appropriate garb, while custom is to make familiar, to, let's just say, play. Okay, in real life. I mean, there's a difference. You know, a custom means like in India, they still wear the sari. It's a custom. Versus if I mean, I got it, my DNA, but I got on jeans right now. It would be a costume if I put it on because I'm not wearing that every day. And the sentence is screwed up. That's the difference. All right. Now, close your eyes. Let's go to the images. It always, like, why can't they? They need to hire Gigi to correct all of those sentences. Sorry, not sorry. Now we know this is a costume. I mean, give us a break, right? Now I'm gonna look for a custom. Same sort of word, but very, very similar. But I know you know what I mean, and I know you can figure it out. Costumes, right? Wonderful trick-or-treaters. Now, I know, okay, I know I can probably find a picture of a custom somewhere else. I'm just trying to see if we can hit it. Meaning, Hawaiian people, when they do luau's, they dressed in customary outfits. I would not call that a costume. They would get offended and cuss Gigi out. Right? So we're going to get all costumes here. But yeah, there's no customs over here. I think you know what I mean. But no, these are fun to look at. So I hope you have your costume. I know Gigi Darling does. So yeah, we're going to leave it at that because really. Okay. Next. I love this topic. Oh my gosh. All right. Mummers. Gigi Darling, what is going on? Growth in your brain cells. That's what's going on. Enjoy it. Okay, here we go. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so what is the origin of the mummers? Mummers have their roots in Africa. Forget what you heard. You know, Egypt is on the continent of Africa. They're best documented during the medieval period, where the mummers' play was a popular pastime for the poor, the peasants. There are a wide variety of mummer plays, but they're characterized by big mask and pantomime traditions. Okay? How about that? Some of the earliest mummers date back to Africa, and then it grew through and up and on around Europe. Historically, mummery was influenced during customs and perpetuated, many interesting traditions. Yeah, all things grew out from Africa. Mother womb. Every nation has its own type and festivities basically at the same time, each marked by parades and displays of fanciful costumes. But that's where it started. Isn't that lovely? Oops, I didn't want to hit news. You can do that. So here we know what we know. Now we know. Now we know. Now we know. See, this is class culture. That's why I'm going to take a moment and say this. Subscribe. Subscribe. This is from Mother Africa. Yeah, subscribe. I love when people say, oh yeah, I knew all about that, but who else was talking about it? Gigi Darling. We started talking about it a year ago when I was talking about Halloween. And I put some of those videos on this playlist. Now that is the closest to the origin African masks, performance, and traditions with natural masks, not plastic ones with cartoony faces. I'm just saying real quick, it's fun, but let's keep it real and let's keep it 100 here in class culture. Next, ooh, I feel good. Mumming started in Africa. Give me a second. I'm just going slow because these computers are weird. They be trying to break up the flow. And I see what's happening. Okay, give me a second. I might have closed that one. I sure did. So let me get that one open. Because I'm taking my time with this fantastic topic. So when I meet, give me a second. Because I got a lot open, you guys. Let me start it in Africa. When I meet black folk and they say, oh, I don't celebrate Halloween, it's evil. Oh, your culture is evil? Wow, you got bamboozled. Sorry, not sorry. African American holiday in Africa, they still, or in Africa, in America, they still celebrate it, only in particular places. But we just basically killed it. That's where they go back to, right? Now I don't even know why they put the poor people in there. Everybody was everything. I mean, really, it really didn't matter how much money you had. Everybody could go make a mask or dance around the fire, whether it was a camp or a bonfire. I know it's bonfire, but I used to like to say bomb. Okay, so sorry. We move on. We should be looking at images here. We all know what's up. I mean, give me a break. Now, some cities have still held on to the tradition. Now, I don't get upset about blackface. I really don't, unless they're being racist. It at first, a little, whether you like it or not, it was honoring the African people because they are not what? Dark. Oh God, yeah. But then it became something evil. Now, this picture I like over here because at the bottom, I just like the imagery that it's showing roots. So they always made reference However, they denied it in literature because why? Social standards. And here it is where you find it. They were always making slight. You know what I mean? By not I'm experiencing that now in my growth here on YouTube. I love when people want to slight me because they are speaking to themselves. I'm just over here growing organically, having topics and discussions on my channel that matter, and this video can live for 10 years and more and beyond. We're claiming it. Okay. Now, let's talk about something not so fun, and then we'll move on to, well, no, let's move on to bonfire first. I'm changing something up. Give me a second. Okay. Mm. Give me a second. Let's go. Yeah, let's go to bonfire. Now, bonfire. I bet you didn't know a lot about it. Give me a second. Now we're going to get a whole bunch of stuff. All right, here we go. Its origins is in a religious celebration and originally featured prayers for bountiful crops. For instance, when you pluck off the corn, the ear of the corn, and you just have the stalks, whether you're going to keep the fibers or whatever you did with them, you had a bunch of what? Byproduct. What do you do with it? You burn it. You're done with it. Therefore, that is a signal of the harvest, and what you don't want, you get rid of. That was one purpose. Okay. Originally, fires were lit to honor the goddess Ein as part of a Celtic celebration. Remember, we talked about it, how there's so many gods and goddesses. You could pick one and use every year just to learn about that one and what they did to worship and or honor them and or pray to them so they could what? Have a food to eat, clothes to put on, natural matter to build houses and homes and shelter, wood and clay to build, furniture and create vessels to hold your food and things. It all mattered, didn't it? So the bonfire started here. However, there's another meaning to it. What does bon mean in bonfire? Here, they have another meaning. In French, bon means good, which led to some to believe that it is the first element of the English word bon. After all, a bonfire is a really good thing. Heat is good. Now, bonfires lit on Halloween are meant to for dead spirits to come visit us, to come through the fire. Remember that I see, this is why I love Harry Potter, because you see these little elements. Remember when Harry Potter's godfather spoke to him through the, I'll say the chimney fire, remember? And it's also good to keep away evil spirits while dressed in disguises. Evil spirits will come to you dressed in disguise. So don't you know that? Yeah. Now, who is Samhain demon? Samhain, also known as the origin of Halloween, was a powerful and special demon of hell. You know, it's a bunch of mother effers running around YouTube mad because Gigi Darling is here, because the Hollies and the Holies are here. Yes, they're supposed to show up, Hearts of Gold. It's okay. Hold on. Hold fast. I'm glad we are exposing them during this time of year. Ooh, ooh. Let me read that again. Who was Samhain? Samhain, the origin of Halloween, was a powerful and special demon of hell and was one of the 66 seals. He could only rise when summoned by two powerful witches through 3 blood sacrifices over 3 days, and the last sacrifice day on the final harvest, Halloween. Okay, be careful. That's why the Pope said, oh, hell no. Shout out to the saint on my background up there. Yeah, I know my marketing is going to be changing, but guess what? It's working. And you can read the rest. Oh, I like this. Oh, I was waiting to get here. And I cannot, well, in real time. I'll do the haul after. That's my, my reward. I got to get the good word out. I do. What is the tradition of fire of bone? So some people think, okay, bon, as in, bonjour, good day. It mean good, but some people feel that bon in bonfire is what? Bone. Ooh, let's talk about it. Oh, I'm having a good time. Look, it's in real time. I love y'all. That's all I can say. Okay, shout out to the future and beyond. It's so much fun. I'm glad I can have fun here on YouTube. A bon or bale fire is a large controlled outdoor fire made from bales of hay or wood. The word is believed to come from the bone fire in the time of the Celts. Okay. There were midsummer festivals where animal bones were burnt to ward off evil spirits. Now, take it back to that time. They're still finding bone pits in America from the Native Americans. They're still finding bone pits in Africa from the, Africans and the tribes and the different countries and cultures. Okay. Because what did you do after you killed the animal and ate it? You had to get rid of the bones. And after a while, that stuff piles up after a whole year. So they have to get rid of it. And what happens to ash? You can make soap out of it and all other things. Nature is awesome. It provides us everything to what we need. It is amazing. This is just the beginning of my research. Hang on, hold on, subscribe, because this is just the beginning. Hashtag growth, hashtag pivot, hashtag organic. Let the devil be mad. Don't be shocked if there's a whole bunch of people running around YouTube mad, y'all. We're doing it on purpose. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Working out their possessed souls. And they're mad. They're supposed to be. Now, during that midsummer festival, those bones were burnt to ward off evil spirits. Because after a while, y'all, it's a pest, it's disease, it's fungi, it's airborne panoramas. Shout out to AT2. And they were, primitive people didn't think that good or wasn't learned yet, because it was back when they were just living off the land like their fellow beast and animal friends. So it wasn't no big deal to them. But in their mind, that got rid of it. No, really, honestly, you got rid of all the moldy, decrepit, corroded carcasses and leftover bone meat and maggots and flies and smell and stench. You're supposed to burn it immediately, but you know what's up. Okay? We know what's up. So we already talked about that. And like I said, disposable waste. After you pluck the ear of corn, you got all that other stuff. You got to get rid of it. And they might as well make a party about it. Okay? We are human. In order to convert these into fertilizer, they would be burned, the bones as well, and fertilizer, whatever else. You can make so many things out of ash. I don't have time right now. We'll talk about that later. Remind me. Okay. Humans are wonderful. You really don't need a picture of a bonfire. I mean, do you? Okay, here you go. Some people do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's okay. Here you go. If you've never been to a bonfire, go to one, or a powwow, or any place where it's larger than a campfire. Fire is mesmerizing. And if you are ingesting anything, I'm just saying, it heightens the experience. Just like we still like to drink spirits and smoke trees. You're heightening your experience. However, you're dulling your senses and you're high, but nonetheless. Interesting, right? Okay, so that's a bonfire. Now moving right along. What's the next topic? No, this is good because now I see why I wanted to do this in this order. I'm just taking my time over here, enjoying my channel. Okay. Give me a second. Here we go. I'm making it make more sense because sometimes I go so fast in my delivery and my research while I'm just on my own. Think about it, you guys. If I didn't click live, I would just be doing this anyway. I just throw stuff up there. Boom, 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 boom. And I go, oh, okay, let me slow it down. Okay. Ancient burial practices during burning the dead. I had to word it, all of that out like that because it wasn't giving me what I wanted. And, Gigi Darling is going to take care of the hearts of gold over here. So let me get there. So this, we know why they burn things, to get rid of it for whatever reason. Now, that's different when you're talking about a human being and one that you probably love or the one that gave birth to you. Can you imagine? Let's go 20,000 years ago. You're responsible for burning the body of your parent. Really? Of course, you're going to add something special to it. And the whole, let's just say, tribe is going to celebrate also because they also knew this person and they also love this person. It's supposed to be a tradition. It was supposed to be a ceremony. It was supposed to be a ritual. It was supposed to be beautiful and memorable and more special than just burning stalks of hay and corn, fangs, and bones that you just ate and pooped out. It's got to be something different. It's got to be something specialer than. I made that word up because I like to have fun and I don't care. So let's talk about it. Did I spell burial wrong, Joe? Now let's go back. Oh, did I mess that up? I sure did. Sorry. And look, it happens. So let me go back. Oh, I spelled it right on my thing down below. Maybe that's what it, maybe that's why I took it away. Let me do it properly. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm like, what is something's blaring at me, and I couldn't figure it out until I looked. I'm like, oh, I spelled the wrong word wrong. Okay, here it is. Traditionally, pyres are used for the cremation of the dead, meaning you just didn't go in a pit, a bone pit, a dirt pit. They were elevated on the earth. Now we'll look up pyres in a minute. But this also started in Africa, but you know how it is. Why did ancient people bury their dead? Before we go to the pyre, okay? Ancient Egyptians were typically buried in the ground, either directly in the earth, as was in the case of everyday Egyptians, or in elaborate tombs. We know that, the pyramids. Either way, the deceased were buried with their personal belongings. They were specialer than the animal and the byproducts of the ears of the corn and thing. They were better than. They loved you. They gave birth to you. The person, the human, a billion years ago, I don't even care if that's the right number or not, is still here in me. That's why you're supposed to do this, to honor that person. Now, their belief was so they could have those things in the afterlife, but we know better. I'm just saying real quick. I mean, and here, why are bodies buried 6 feet underground? Okay, the 6 feet rule may have came from the plague to keep the what? The disease down there, to kill it. Because they didn't know how else to kill it. They just kept burying and burying and burning until it stopped. Sound familiar? Yeah. Okay. So ancient burial practices, burning the dead. Okay. So fire was part of burning anything that needed to be discarded. Now we went from bones to byproduct, leaves, whatever, incinerating trash, to getting to humans. Okay, now let's talk about the pyres they referenced, because a lot of people, sorry about that, a lot of people don't want to be cremated. They want to be buried. But let's talk about the process of cremation and pyres, if you don't know what they mean by that. So the Egyptians weren't into that. However, who was into that? A second. I guess that's the next thing. Yep, that's the next thing. Now let's look at images first, because everyone wasn't into it, but other cultures were. Okay? It's kind of cray-cray. Hold on. I know what the turning point was. I do. And we're going to talk a little bit about, you know what I'm doing. So give me a second. Give me a second. Because some rights did not want to be, it would cause chaos in the community. Just because your husband died didn't mean you're supposed to get burnt too. But in some cultures, that's what they had did. Crazy, right? But as you can see here, some people also use the ash to what? Pay homage or honor them by. The person might want to take their ashes and not be what? That bar of soap or that whatever you use the ash for. If you're not the plant byproduct and the animal bone, those were used for something else. The human ashes were treated in a better way. Or you honor the person. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do like two things at once. Give me a second. Let me focus. Let me do this. Something else. Trust me, y'all. I'm over here multitasking like you know what? Because that's what happens. Get over. Okay. Okay, here we go. That person is different. It's a human. So you're not going to treat their bones and their ashes and all of that like a piece of food you just ate and pooped out and or that plant byproduct. No, you're going to do something special with it. There go a funeral, a rite, a remembrance. Now, that ain't no human pyre, but we're going to get there. It's just really, honestly, a stack of effing logs. So when you look this up, funeral pile, Viking funeral pile, ancient Greek funeral. So they all did something a little different. How do we know that? Shout out to archaeology, shout out to artists, shout out to books, and shout out to vases. There is a funeral pile. Not the dead person was not sitting up like that. That's idealized. They were dead. But you see the gentleman there lighting it a fire. Beautiful piece of art, isn't it? Yeah. That's how we know what happened. Nobody had to tell us. It wasn't a bonfire. No, it was a pyre. Okay. Now let's go to that definition. Pyres. Give me a second. Oh, I love it. Okay.
Pyre.
A heap of combustible material, especially one for burning a corpse as part of a funeral ceremony. So it was not a bonfire. Okay. And even in the bonfire, they would just throw everything. People didn't need something. They wanted to get rid of it, or it broke, just throw it in there, get rid of it. Just give it right back to the earth, ash, fertilizer, next cycle. But you wouldn't throw your humans' ashes in there because you respected them and you honored them and they were sacred to you. You know where that pile of ash came from. And you are have emotional bondings, DNA ties to it. You would never do that. Therefore, you would make a
pyre
in order to perform the funeral ceremony. It's different and it's special. A pyre, also known as a funeral pyre, is a structure usually made of wood for burning a body as part of a funeral rite or execution. Okay. Why is it called a pyre? Okay. It comes from the word for fire. It's the same thing. It's Greek for fire. All right. So again, we have our proof. We know what we're talking about. There it is, moving right along. See, I don't ponder. I'm not really good at pondering something that's already there. I'm like, well, I've moved on. I get really bored, and when I get something that I need and it feeds me and it makes sense, I'm good with it. It's there. It was there thousands of years ago. So I'm not going to sit here and have a conversation with somebody about something that is it's factual. It's in the history books. Well, what are you talking about? Now, we already talked about, I'm right here. We know what a funeral pyre is now. It's constructed of wood, but sometimes it has a base of stone. So pyre stone. The stones were important and they were sacred because they were used over and over and over again. And they were also buried with humans. If you couldn't find some more, sometimes humans collected their own, on which a human body is burned, also known as open air cremation. Like crematories are big stones, a big stone box, and with the fire in it. And Some of them are made of metal, but most of it is stone. If you're into pottery, a kiln is a stone. Mhm. Okay, so let's go up here. A pyre, also known as a funeral pyre or fire, is a structure usually made of wood or burning a body as part of a funeral rite or execution, a form of cremation. We already did that. But what is pyre stone? A piece of magical gem glowing with a reddish hue. So we have gems, jewelry that are named for that reason because it reminded them of it. Now, the gems might have been worn or adorned on bodies. However, a real pyre stone is what was used to get that fire burning and to keep the fire. Can you imagine just wood? Eventually, it would burn down or it wouldn't go or they couldn't get it right. They needed another fuel down there to make it happen, to keep it glowing, to keep it moving. Okay, so yeah, let me see. Now, this might be a hit or miss. So here we go. Thank you. All righty. Here's another one. And the stones, they were right under the pyre. Okay. Give me a second. Here's a very beautiful infrared picture of a pyre. You know, and they always had, whoever was in charge of doing it always had material ready to go because they didn't keep bodies. They just didn't. It's, yeah, every culture was different, but yeah, they did not keep bodies around. I mean, come on. That's not healthy. You know, sometimes they can be on the ground. It doesn't matter. It's about their culture, what's legal, what everyone accepts. They expect it after a while. Then nobody want no moldy, rotted, bloated, smelly, you know, maggot infested, you know, corpse. It's not good. So here it is. Sorry, I was looking for it. See the bones and see the stones still in there. Okay. Interesting. I thought that was interesting because of the claws. I'm like, what type of animal is that? But they're in there. See the stones down there? Sometimes they buried the pyre and then dug it back up to get the ash because fire is what? Dangerous. And you don't want the town to catch fire because here it is. Everything in the village is probably combustible. So you got to be careful you don't set the place on fire. I used to have a teacher, and then we'll go on, would always try to get me to say the word fire because I didn't say it fire. I said fire, like on fire. I say fire here in class culture because it's fun with the R. But yeah, he would always try to get me to say the word fire. He's like, I love the way you say the word fire. But yeah, there you go. That's a perfect example of a real life pyre with the corpse on top and not sure because you can't see them. They might also have pyre stone to keep it glowing, to keep it hot. Sometimes they keep them, sometimes they bury them with the corpse. Okay, now close your eyes really, really. I'm going to go up really, really fast. So if you go down here, you can see lots of examples. I'm not going to, it's gory, but here is, they're just ready. You know what I mean? They just got stockpiles of stuff. But let's go look at news. I think this was the one where I was looking. So here, 2 days ago, a deadly clash in India's farmer protest points to a growing ... So somebody had made a pyre for their son and there was a clash, but in India they still do it. It's a lot of drama going out there. Okay, let's read it. Let me see. You know, so these things are still happening today. It might not be no big royal Viking. I'm waiting for it to open. Funeral pyre and celebration and home going, whatever you want to call it. But still today, like somebody's going to die today in some rural town that still practices this. They're going to go to that big pile, make the pyre, and get some of the stones and burn it. And then they're going to collect the ash and do whatever they want to do with it. We are being attacked by ads. Bye-bye. A deadly clash in India's farmer protest points to a growing challenge for it. What is going on? What? The devil stay mad. So I guess somebody got mad at somebody's car. Look, they still throw rocks. And still angry mobs. Relatives say he was returning home that night with a bullet wound in his head and one of the 8 people killed in a bloody clash. Fighting. Woo! Left the straw hut he built for worship. It's a lot going on. I'll let you go find out. Yeah, I'm like, ooh. Sometimes in different countries, they don't do police and or law. They do mob rule. And it is what it is. That's why I'm glad I'm an American. I don't know why that's taking so long to close, you guys. I just don't know why. It's just these computers, you know, they make us want to think that they all of that in a pile of crap, but they ain't. Now, what's the next word? Oops, sorry. Yeah, I got the devil stay mad, don't he? Good grief. Now, pyre stone. Did Vikings burn their dead in boats? Okay. Since we're gonna go into burial traditions, you know, I started with the what they call the peasants first. Now let's look at the mucky mucks. Everything is like 5 seconds or 10 seconds late. It's ridiculous what is happening. Sorry, I'm looking at something. I'm changing something. Take a sip. Okay. Now, on rare occasions, Vikings did burn their ships to pay special tribute to prominent members of their community as part of their burial practices. Archaeological evidence shows only a few instances of such ceremonies, and launching ships out in sea and setting them ablaze most likely never happened. It probably happened once or twice, but they can't be burning all the ships. But yeah, this is the origin of bone and or bonfire. And if it was a good bonfire, it was just deemed as a good omen, a good experience, a good ceremony. And then good storytellers and good, let's say, scribes at the time would write it down. And every year or every instance, or even the poorest of the poor people would try to recreate it in honor of that dead person, whether they were prince or pauper. So it all harkens back and brought back to present day bonfire, the purpose, the reason of the season. Now, ain't no bones nowadays, but somebody might throw a nasty chicken bone in there just because. I've seen people who study the craft keep all their bones for the whole year and wait till this time of year. I've seen them do that. I mean, I'm not doing it. So sorry. Sometimes when I nasty chicken dinner or something and I look at the bone, I'm like, am I gonna save it? I'm like, no, I ain't. I'm not that deep into it. But I can still think about it. I can still honor them. I can still understand what they are all about. I cannot believe it's an hour and I'm still talking and we still haven't done the webbies. I don't care. This is an amazing topic. And this was the background. So you can imagine that is something of lore. That is for storytelling for generations. I was there. And then eventually that granddaddy or grandmammy would die. And then the oral tradition kept going and going. Eventually someone wrote it down. Like, wow. Sometimes boats got old and they had to burn it. They couldn't float it no more. So of course they're going to burn it. Or they're going to use it for when that person that they felt is the right person to burn it in and on passed on. It all makes sense to me, versus this, they did because they were greater than, and they got to get rid. Remember in Pirates of the Caribbean, that big old decrepit boat up on the sea in the shore. Eventually they want to get rid of that. So yeah, they're going to burn it. All right, next. Now, unfortunately, through this process, and we did fortunately discuss how it is a good fire, and it's meant to get rid of bad spirits or fight the spirits. I'm a warrior. I'm a veteran. Warriors want to fight the bad, the evil, the wrong, the chaos, the nonsense, the insane. Sometimes back then, we're talking about not modern times. You had to get rid of the insane because you need sleep. You need harmony. You don't need a grown people touching little boys and girls. So they got rid of them. Yeah, they didn't do gels and all of that stuff. They just got rid of them. They sure did. Or they were ostracized. Unfortunately, they should have just got rid of them because all they would do is, traipse onto the next society and still touch a little boy or a girl. You got to kill them. It's that easy. Yeah. Next. Okay. What is next? Yeah, because they don't want to live with real adults and human beings. So they want to prey on children. So they had to burn them. Okay. Devil's Night started. Unfortunately, it was supposed to be, remember we talked about it, the bonfires, the ancient traditional purpose and reason, Samhain and all of that. But in modern times, it turned into something totally ugly. At first, it starts out as something, oh, we get it. And then it's perverted and or criminalized and or sexualized. Because people don't know how to follow rules and they are against society because they are characters of chaos, demons, and the devil. That's why, you guys, we're in this season. We're supposed to be seeing demon activity. Ooh, right on time. Wasn't that right on time? Yeah. They supposed to be coming out the woodworks. So we know who they are. You don't have to guess. Just open your eyes. Okay, let's see what this says. Give me a second. I'm always shocked when a Christian or somebody else is scared because why is this happening? Why is this? Who is this? Why that? What is it's like because you're on the right track. You're doing the work assigned to you. Okay. So Devil's Night, unfortunately, became something horrible. Now, I left Michigan in 82, thank God. But anyway, now, I was only 18, 19. So it wasn't like, the first 10 years of your life is your child. And then the 8 years I thought, oh, eyes open, right? So I would say a good 5 years, Devil's Night was horrible. It was the night before Halloween, and we hated it in Michigan. We hated it. We couldn't understand why Black people were acting like that. It was horrible. My mom would always say, thank God your dad is not alive to see this. Now, the riots happened after right during his illness and after he passed away. You know, where they burned down buildings. Some of them buildings still, look, they just need to burn the whole city. Detroit was almost like, if you look up whipping post under the category of city, it was Detroit. The whole country used Detroit as a whipping post for anything and everything, any uprising. Then they never built, they never put money in there. They always shitted on Detroit, always, still do. I don't know what it is, but I'm glad I left. I'm glad my mom got out of there and had some happiness of the last 5 years, because it just hurt so hard for them to see their city that was beautiful and prosperous and amazing, and how they came through World War II and how everyone had homes and jobs and, you know, clothes and hairdos and medical care, into the horrible drug infested, prostituted, blighted, dirty, dangerous, disgusting place it became. Raggedy ass houses and shit, nobody upkeep. It just ridiculous. And then the exodus, the 80s and the 90s of the good, I say, Black folk that left and went back down south, and then put all their money and time into the Black Mecca, Atlanta. That's where they all went. Either Atlanta, Texas, or Louisiana. They all went back because they could see. I wasn't old enough, but the adults, you know, the 30s and the 40s, realized that they don't want us here. So they were smart enough to get the hell out. But the 5 years that I was sort of young adulting and before I left, I was like, Devil's Night is going to destroy the city, and it did. So it really kind of got out of hand. It was supposed to be a night of mischief, you know, eggs and soap on cars and stupid shit. Turned into a bunch of ignorant, high, dummy, ghetto, gang, Black folk destroying the city. With no jobs, no money. They didn't own no houses. You know what they did? They got the houses from grandma and grandpa, the good folk that did invest and buy that house after World War II and were good people and understood civil rights. And them young ones, dumb ones, high ones, playing video game all day ones, they got old raggedy ass houses, and that's all they got. So I remember every year for 5 years, Devil's Night, I was just thinking, like, I can't wait to get the fuck out of this city. This is stupid. Unfortunately, close family members lost their house one time. And I don't really think they've ever recovered. They have, their children recovered, but they never recovered. It was so painful to see other Black people attack other Black people. Well, guess what? It's a lot of Black people now, right now, 2021, that are bamboozled and that are programmed to attack other Black people. That's why I say, yo, they just need to get dead. Just, I don't want to feed them in no jail. Fuck jail. Oh, I'm not supposed to curse. It just came out. So Devil's Night became a night of domestic terror that was allowed and permitted for 10 years straight in America because it destroyed Black prosperity. Yeah, the Ku Klux Klan didn't have to come in. We didn't have to elect a racist, anybody. They just sat back and said, that one good neighbor is right next to that one, drug dealer neighbor, hooker neighbor. Oh, every year they're just going to go steal their stuff and burn their stuff down. We don't have to do anything. It was very hard to look back, Because when I was gone, you know, went to college and went to military, I was like, shit, I'm glad I got the fuck out of there. So as you can see, there are lots of books, lots of discussion regarding it. Something that was pure historical, not meant to harm, meant to honor, was turned into a weapon of hate and destruction. It was terrible. Terrible. So yeah, you can look into it, and it was just something very real. So when people tell you that, oh, you haven't been through this or that, or you weren't in that, or you don't live over there, or you didn't go through this, I'm like, not when. You can go to YouTube and just look in Devil's Night 1980, and I'm going to do it on my phone, just so if I want to correct myself. Because I graduated in 1982. Oh, there's some episodes, yeah. And the buildings are still there. There's a Detroit's Devil's Night 1991 on CNN. And it goes on and on and on. Yeah, you do it. I don't have to. You know why? Up until 82, I was there. And we would have, and I'm not going to show pictures, we would have groups of people ready to kick the you know what out of anybody we didn't know that came into the neighborhood. We were on porches. We were waiting. And when sunlight hit, everybody went to bed. And then we would wake up at 1 or 2. And then we would get ready for Halloween. We didn't even go to school. We were militia. And we would have warnings to people, signs saying, don't come in here. You're going to get hurt or dead, or a leg's going to be missing when you hobble back home, bitch. So moving right along before we get to the websites. Yeah, I had to work my way up. It's sort of like old nasty story time in there, wasn't it? I had to build up to it. Valhalla. It's meant to be majestic, and it's mythical. A majestic, enormous hall in Asgard, ruled over by the god Odin. Okay, and that's where the people who died in combat would reside. Okay, half of those who die in combat travel to Valhalla upon death, led by Valkyries, escorts of women on horseback with wings, while the other half go to the goddess Freya. So it was meant to be something good. After you fell, after you left the pyre of fire and you ascended to heaven, whatever you believe in, Valhalla, wherever. But it was only for the fallen in war. Okay. So there's a lot going on during Halloween, and the meanings of bonfire and pyre and, you know, Hallows Eve and good and bad and evil. But just know that when you are a warrior, people like myself have studied, understand, practice, pay attention to, embrace. You can't take that type of knowledge away. That's why when I see somebody coming that's a devil or a demon, I just look at them in their eyeballs or eyeball and say, I see you. I see you. All right, let's get to these webbies. You You should see them too. Don't get why are you upset? You should have known that was coming. If you're a good person, you should always expect bad people to come your way. Sorry, but that's the way of the world. Okay, you know that was coming. I'm not supposed to be singing. All right. Now, all of these are down below, so enjoy yourself. All right. Give me a second. So, Halloween origins. Halloween. Do you want? Yeah, I'll make it big. I'll make it big. Okay. Ooh, somebody's hiring. Shout out to the Bay Area. Okay. And we're just going to get attacked by everything. So just ignore it. So this is down below. We don't have to read all of this, but we know what it's about. But let's take a peek. Ancient origins, All Saint Days, trick or treat, parties, movies, All Souls and Souls cakes, black cats, ghosts. All right, rituals, jack-o'-lantern. We are there. We turn in the corner. Samhain. Okay, we turn in the corner. So it's the next thing. Yeah, because after we have these discussions, we have to go visit these webbies. This part won't take long because I wanted it to be a discussion. Okay. Why do we wear costumes? We already talked about that. I don't know why people are afraid of clowns. I'm not. It's not a lot I'm afraid of. Samhain again. Why we disguise. Murmurs. We talked about that. Mummers. Sorry, not murmurs. Mummers and mumming. Okay, characters, costumes. It's $1 billion industry. Get into that. Now, due to the current time pandemic, I didn't make anything. At first I was, you guys. I was like, it's nowhere to go. Plus, I don't feel comfortable yet. I'm getting there now. So next year, it's going to be on and popping. 2022, boo. We made it. It's a lot going on. Mumming. Mumming is a form of folk entertainment in which bands of masked and costumed merrymakers roam the streets. Sound familiar? Trick or treat. Singing, dancing, acting out stories, or simply engaging in horseplay. Unfortunately, mischief. Mischief can be fun, wholesome, and good. Don't go to the dark side. In past centuries, people throughout Europe celebrated the Christmas season by mumming as well. So, shout out to what? Cosplay. Okay. You get to read the rest. I just wanted to show that and share that. And that's the premise of my cosplay during Christmas this year. Okay, next. Now, some of these might be out of order. I think it's good. If it's out of order, I'll switch it. So you'll have that better experience when you come back. Don't forget these videos. Keep this playlist because all you got to do is go down in the description box. They will always reside there. Is this the scary story of Night Before Halloween? Okay. Now they talk about Devil's Night and Mischief Night. Okay. Now here, the meaning of the Night Before Halloween has evolved considerably over time, from being associated with helping young women find husbands, masquerade balls, to coordinating witch hunts, to protesting and to protest and vandalism, throughout the centuries that increased during times of economic and social strife. Unrest. That's why protesting in the Constitution is a right. It was also known as Cabbage Night. Now, every city, country, and state has their own version. Why? Different cultures settle in different places on planet Earth as groups at a time. North Dakota, German culture. Michigan, Polish culture. I mean, really, when you talk about the Europeans during the revolutions and things. French, Louisiana, and on and on. Well, the Spanish was before them, but you know what I mean. Let's just take her easy. I'm just trying to give you an example. Here, Cabbage Night in Vermont and New Hampshire, thanks to an old Scottish fortune-telling tradition. There you go. Oral. They kept it going. Thank goodness. Or what happens? It's lost in the sauce. Young girls would pull cabbages to examine them and try to do divination on who their husbands would be. Isn't that weird? Not really. When you look at a cabbage and you slice it in the middle, it looks like a what? A maze. Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I had to write something down. Came in my mind. That's how we rock and roll here. Holidays, they would examine them and try to figure out who their husband would be. Holiday calendars noted, of course, once the cabbages have told these young ladies all they could, the only thing left to do with them was to throw the cabbages against someone's door and run away. I thought that was funny. But the reason why I brought up Germans is because sauerkraut is a thing. So while they're doing it and celebrating, and this was something they could divinate, perform divination and look at it, and maybe they threw the rotten ones at the doors. They made sauerkraut with the good ones. Sounds a lot like going to your neighbor's house when you were younger and egging them. So yeah, and here, unfortunately, they talk about the Detroit and how it did grow from the riots to a yearly thing, and it was horrible. Horrible. It was almost like a planned war once a year. Oh, we're going to war. It's horrible. My mom would keep us in the house. We would do all kind of things that we weren't even paying attention to it. Good things. It's horrible. But here it talks about the pranks were harmless at first. Here you go. It was supposed to be just a mischief night. Why? I don't know. It's to play tricks, trick or treat. But it was before Halloween, which is dumb. But yeah, in 1934 in Connecticut, a 14-year-old boy was beaten to death at a Halloween party. Same year, 8-year-old Chicago boy watching a bonfire of stolen gates was killed by trick-or-treaters. In late 64, trick-or-treaters trashed New York studio of artist Andrew Hythe, the Chicago Tribune. So it just became something evil. Humans are stupid some of the times. The mob ones, the dumb ones, the followers, the easy-led ones, the demon ones. The demented ones. We should expect them to behave. We are in the season of demon, y'all. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Just follow my lead. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. I expected this. I expect it every year. I just never know what form it's going to come in. You know what I'm saying? I see it coming and then I go, oh, there it is. Gosh. Now, I like to share this because you have to go, when I do research, and in the future you will see this, you have to go to antiquities. And you see all the good stuff. Sorry, it won't let me scroll up. It's a weird page where it won't let me scroll this part up where you see these try the new Google books. It won't let me do it, y'all. So there it is in that little tiny window. You have to hit that and it'll open up. Here they're talking about mumming and guising. Way, 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 way back then. Now you can tell that is a printed book made with printing blocks. That's what makes this beautiful to me. Okay? So that's good research. Now, what's the next thing? I'm going slow because I'm organizing this for us. This is for us. It's only for the people who want it. And guess what? That's millions of folk. Look at this. Yeah, I love, and I am going to continue my education. I love that about Gigi. I went back to school at 50. I said, why not? The world is changing, and it changed, and it shocked a lot of people, and it's leaving them behind. They trying old school street crap, y'all, on YouTube. I'm like, get out of here. Stone Age people were cremating their bodies about 9,000 years ago. So there it is, the proof. Thrive. We have lived and earned leisure. Stone Age people were cremating them. They were making pit fires, bonfires, whatever fire they made back then, child. That part don't matter. It just means that that's what they did. So that is a direct connection. Okay. Now go ahead and read. Okay. Give me a second. Here we go. Practices were occasionally elaborate, meaning they were just too special just to throw them in the pit, man. Come on, that's your mommy, right? And then they would return after the pit or special practice and dig it up and remove the skull and then take the ashes and do something special with it. Sometimes they plastered the skull. Shout out to the Day of the Dead and what they do with skulls. Then they create the new face. It is what it is. In Turkey, bodies are buried under the floors of their houses. Isn't that crazy? Giving way to the phrase, a good foundation. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying, be careful. Be careful. Now, what's next? Some of these were very, very long, but I sacrificed and we got it in there, y'all, because this is an important topic. Very important. So enjoy. Here is another source. Okay? Give me a second. About position, military, and ruling castes in ancient India. And unfortunately, back then, now in Europe, they stopped this. They were like, I'm sorry, just because a fella dies doesn't mean we got to burn his wife too. In ancient India, they would throw the wife on the pyre. She knew she had to die with him. Isn't that crazy? So here, for instance, for storytelling purposes, okay, if I wanted to create a scene, and I wanted to incorporate something visual and harken back to tradition and culture, I would read this. It says here, gifts were thrown among the people. The courtiers were there. The royal house was there. They were all marching. Also, the wives and warriors joined the crowd. They're basically writing the scene. You don't have to make it up. It's here. Okay. All you got to do is read funeral pyre. And they talk about everything. This is down below. Funerals for kings and knights that fallen in war. Valhalla. Okay, I mean, it's already there. You don't have to make it up. Different cultures did the same thing to honor. When you're gone, you're gone. I'm just saying, ain't nobody, if the person that you didn't love or like you, it's over. You got to do something good while you're here. You really do. Leave some legacy. Not yelling and shouting and screaming and hurting and harming. It's too much. You are miserable on earth. You're living on earth as a pariah. unfortunately. This is a great website for whatever, science, Nordic, enjoy it, because they talk about culture, environment, technology, agriculture, fisheries, natural science, research zones. Good, good. Okay. In ancient, there's the picture. Okay. In ancient times, the size of a funeral pyre often reflected your social status. This is the why to that for me. Everyone wanted to pay tribute. If only the immediate family paid tribute and everybody walked around and pat you on, gave you a hug and walked away. Okay, your pyre might be small. But if everybody in the whole village got the wood and they're showing up in the flowers and the gifts and the food, it's going to be larger, meaning you had more status. Right? So get your life and read this. They used much more wood than was necessary because more people showed up with it, making sure that you had enough. And they honored that person. That was their way of honoring them. A piece of wood. Shout out to that. I love nature. Symbolic gifts, beads, silver. So during death comes wealth, right? Appreciation, tribute, gain. At the same time, loss. Here they talk about how flint was used. You know, graves were for living and the dead. Okay, give me a second. I'm looking at something. Let's see what my next topic is. Yep, it sure is. Give me a second. Okay. Sorry. Here it is. The rituals were extensive and did not simply end after the pyre had burned. Okay, after the fact. Sometimes, look, what does this sound like? The graves were sealed and reopened. Who does that sound like? Jesus. Because they wanted to go back after what the flesh and everything had rotted away or was safe enough to handle. And nature did. You have to let nature take the process of the decomposing, the decay, and then they would come back whenever they felt like it was safe. So here they talk about ancient graves and all of that good stuff. Okay. So this is a great article. Check it out. Now, I told you I've been to Pompeii. I told you that after Vesuvius exploded, people were just like singed, turned into, disappeared instantly because of the heat. However, the ash stayed in place and everything that was burnt made a hollow, right? Casing. And you could literally see people dying in place at the time that they were incinerated. Let me look it up. It's, you know, I love y'all. Let me look it up. So I'm going to put this down below because I love y'all. And then we got one more Webby. Which one do I want to do first? Let's see what's going to happen first. Oops, before I do that. Because this was like a old nasty story time altogether, wasn't it? Ooh, I love y'all. So we only got one more Webby, and then we're done. Give me a second. I can't wait till this time next year when I feel safe. I feel comfortable. We're going to be going out on field trips and things like that. But yeah, let me do this first. This is the Mummers. There's a Mummers Museum. Please support museums, art galleries, libraries, all that good stuff. I always say libraries are fancy, or libraries are Galleries and museums are fancy libraries where libraries don't display objects, they display books and or treasures inside the books. So start library, galleries, and museums. Also do the fun, silly museums like a car museum or a shoe museum. You know, you get good history there too. We're going to be doing that in the future. But here they talk about the 2nd Street and Washington Avenue Murmurs Museum. And this is in Philadelphia, where they have collected all types of things. That was one of the first places I went to the first time that I visited, let's just say, family members as a young mother. I think I was like 22. So when was that? Like 87. I think it was it was 86. No, it was 86 before we went to Germany. And this was one of the first places that we went to go visit, because I knew about it. And at the time, my husband was like, what's the big deal? And when we went there, he was like, wow, because my mom had taught me. And she was so proud of me. She says, I can't believe you went there. I said, it was beautiful. Okay, so it's called the Murmurs Museum. And if you just Google it, so this is down below for you and us. Not for you, it's for us, right? Google it, and then you look at the images. It's beautiful. I'm yelling because it's exciting. And if you don't go see this, I don't know what's wrong with you. How can you say you're African or American? I don't know. I question all of y'all sometimes. I do. So let me show it to you. Now, this part I am not going to put up there. I'm not doing it. You will never end, right? So there it is when it first opened. First open. Okay, now let's look at the Pompeii bodies, and then we're done, because it's a natural process of nature. What happens to the body when fire destroys what's left after death, or unfortunately in a natural disaster. So after Pompeii was excavated, you guys, because over millennia, they didn't know this was under there. This is what they found under the ash after Vesuvius exploded, and these people were caught off guard and they died right where they were, or what they were doing. This is not what they found. They found piles of ashes, but through over millennia, the bodies, or the casing that the ash and the insides left, turned hard. That's what they found. And to see this in real time, you guys, was riveting. Riveting. It's still there. They didn't have a chance. It was instant. Instant. Okay, and here's some people doing excavations, and these people, you know, they were together. Isn't that interesting? Here's a horse or a lamb or whatever. Here's somebody, you know, that's what they found. Can you imagine the heat? Look at this person. Look at her hand. They probably couldn't breathe. I saw this one straight up front and with my own eyeballs. Look at this person trying to crawl. So fire and body and destruction and human experience is basically a natural thing. It's natural to burn bodies. A lot of people have a problem with that. Oh, you want to be cremated. Oh, that's so unnatural. When I hear people say things like that, you guys, I just cringe. I just go, what? You're ignorant. This is class culture. When I get to these points in my channel and I make this video live, I feel so good inside. I feel like this is the purpose of my channel, among all the other things we're going to experience over here, because that's what I want to do. Not because someone else wants me to do something, not because someone is full of questions. It's because this is what I'm doing. Real face, and I'm going to take the moment to do this. Real face, real name, class culture. Keeping it real 100 all the time. Thank you guys. I'll see you in 14.